graduates and guests. Unfortunately, our honorand is unable to join us in person today, so we will be conferring his honorary degree in absentia. Mr. President and Vice-Chancellor, as public orator, may I present David Cousins, a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Music. David Cousins studied pure mathematics and statistics at the University of Leicester in the 1960s. David admits he found the theory of statistics rather challenging, although he reveled in the practical side of the course. Now looking back, he feels that statistics was the most useful part of his studies at the University of Leicester in determining his future career. David has fond memories of living in Beaumont Hall and in a university house on New Walk. He founded the University Folk Society and organized the first ever concert of Spencer Davis and fellow students Roy Bailey and Michael Nicholson. After graduating from Leicester, David formed a band called the Strawberry Hill Boys with Tony Hooper, a friend from his school days. After initial performances in the pubs around Strawberry Hill, London, they passed a BBC audition, and their first appearance was in 1964 on Saturday Club alongside the Beatles. The name was shortened to Strawbs a few years later as the band became more famous. Strawbs started out as a bluegrass band with David's banjo playing to the fore. David started to write his own songs, which were incorporated into stage and radio performances. At that time, Strawbs consisted of David, Tony Hooper, Ron Chesterman, and Sandy Denny. And in 1968, they put together their first album of 13 songs called All Our Own Work. Although the record had not been released, tapes were played to the international director of A&M Records based in Hollywood, Dave Hubert, who recognized their potential and took them to Herb Alpert and Jerry Moss, the owners of A&M. Strawbs was the first British band to be assigned to A&M Records, and their first single, Oh How She Changed, was recorded in 1968. The band toured extensively in the US and Canada, and in the UK, the hit singles Lay Down and Part of the Union added to their reputation. Strawbs had 7 consecutive albums in the Billboard of the Top 200, resulting in sales of over 3 million copies. In 1974, Strawbs recorded the albums Hero and Heroine and Ghosts to concentrate on the North American market. Both albums sold well, and Hero and Heroine went platinum in Canada. In parallel with his performing career, David started working as a radio producer for the national Danish radio service operating from BBC Radio 1 studios. He was the founding member of Devon Air Radio, a consortium that successfully applied for the Exeter and Torquay commercial radio license. David designed and coordinated the significant research element of the application. After a spell as program controller in Radio Tees, he returned to Devon Air and was subsequently promoted to managing director. One of David's first actions was to establish the Devon Air Music Festival, which brought stars like Stan Getz, Lionel Hampton, and Dave Brubeck to the West Country for the first time. Dave subsequently moved around a host of commercial radio stations where his ability to raise money was equal to the best academics of that day. Under his guidance, many of these radio stations became very successful companies, as indicated by the multi-million-pound values when takeover deals took place. Someone once said that education is what you remember when you've forgotten everything you've learned. And clearly, David's mathematical and statistical ability learned in Leicester has been put to good use in his management career. In 2003, David left the radio business to return to full-time performing. He organized Strawbs anniversary celebrations, the 30th in Chiswick House, the 40th in Twickenham Stadium, and the 50th in Lakewood, New Jersey, with the United Nations Singers and a 32-piece orchestra conducted by Tony Visconti. David developed Witchwood Media as a major independent label. When the company was sold to Cherry Red Records, he had more time to record new material. During the lockdown of 2020, David completed recording a new Strawbs album called Settlement, which entered the progressive album charts at number 3 and the official folk charts at number 2. David is now retired from full-time stage performance. He has enjoyed touring over the last 20 years in large and small venues, discovering the sheer number of Strawbs fans that there are around the world. He continues to be surprised at the strength of the Strawbs fan base in America, Canada, and South Africa. David is a trustee of the Commonwealth Medical Trust, COMAT, which is directed by David's partner, Marianne Hasselgrave. COMAT works to improve the lives of women and children in marginalized African communities. David Cousins has published his autobiography, Exercising Ghosts, and Secrets, Stories and Songs, a collection of 250 of his song lyrics. In 2002, David Cousins was elected Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, and in 2020, he was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Leicester at Drapers Hall in the City of London. Mr. President and Vice-Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and Council, I present David Cousins that you may confer upon him the Honorary Degree of Doctor of Music. David has sent us this message on the screen.
Hello. I'm deeply honoured and humbled by being awarded my Doctorate of Music today. The University of Leicester means a great deal to me. It meant a great deal to me when I first ever arrived as a student all those years ago. The university, in fact, has made me who I am today. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but medical circumstances have arisen that make it impossible. But you're in the De Montfort Hall, and I remember the De Montfort Hall when I was a student. I went there to see Miles Davis. 10 years later, I was back in the De Montfort Hall with my band headlining, sold-out show. It was absolutely marvellous. Well, that the years have passed by, and all of those memories go back to the university. Thank you so much for the award. I'd like to sing you a little song that maybe sums up who I am. The bird had silver wings, my friends, and reached out for the sky. She found her wings were broken. She had lost the right to fly. The pink-eyed salamander changed her colours for the day. She changed from white to purest gold and left the stag at bay. I am but a poor man in the apple blossom state. I choose to fly where'er I please. The stag must needs a mate. My golden salamander, you must take me as I am. I cannot change my colours. I am but a simple man. The golden salamander had become the rite of spring. The silver bird made promises that scarcely meant a thing. She told the wicked huntsman where the stag had run to rest. Now the elderly survivor knew this was not for the best. He opened up his heart and prayed for peace for all mankind. He asked a fortune teller, but found out that she was blind. My golden salamander, you must take me as I am. I cannot change my colours, I am but a simple man. Thank you.